A true fantasy clash. Deontay Wilder versus Mike Tyson. Unrivaled aggression versus raw power. An exciting fight regardless of the outcome. Wilder's devastating right hand has solidified him as the toughest puncher ever to enter the ring, while Mike's violent and relentless style, along with his immaculate technique, established him as an all-time boxing great. Who would have won if these two had ever clashed in the ring, and how will he triumph? Let's see. Let's begin with an overview of the topic. After carefully considering their fights and styles, a prime Mike Tyson would triumph over Wilder. They are both aggressive power punchers with very different styles. Mike is unquestionably more technically proficient, employing angles and combinations to set up powerful punches. Wilder, on the other hand, is a more powerful puncher. Mike had more spectacular knockouts, but he didn't rely solely on power, instead employing deft angles to overwhelm his opponents. While Wilder's technical ability has improved significantly, his approach remains one-dimensional. He sets up with the jab and waits for his opponents to walk onto a right hand. This strategy has worked extremely well for him, yielding 41 knockouts. However, against someone as inventive and elusive as Mike, the chances of hitting that right hand landing flush are slim. Next, how Mike Tyson could win. If this fight had ever occurred, I'm sure the two would have approached each other using very different strategies. I imagine Mike would rush to the center of the ring and begin applying pressure with a heavy jab to the body and chest. Wilder would begin using his jab and reach advantage to keep Mike out of range, much like Lennox Lewis did in their fight. Despite not having Lewis's technical ability, Wilder would unfold quickly. When Mike closes the range, I believe Wilder will struggle to remain composed and begin to let his hands go, which will immediately work in Mike's favor. The pressure from a prime Mike Tyson was immense, and as we saw in Wilder's rematch with Fury, he struggled to fight from behind. Punching backward isn't a winning strategy for Wilder, and I doubt that he could take the offensive against someone as aggressive as Mike. Wilder also has a good jab, but Mike was a master at avoiding straight shots with the peekaboo style he learned from Cus D'Amato. It was only a matter of time before Mike closed the range and began unloading heavy body shots and uppercuts. Wilder's crashing right hands would not have been a problem for Mike stylistically, and I imagine they would have been missing for the majority of the fight. Moving on, Mike Tyson's competition and notable wins. Mike fought in an incredibly competitive era of heavyweight boxing when the division was brimming with talent. Fights were made much easier in the past due to fewer politics and regulations, which resulted in Mike facing massive competition. Because of the caliber of their competition, comparing their resumes is pointless. In terms of notable wins, he has won against Michael Spinks, Trevor Berbick, Tony Tucker, Frank Bruno, Larry Holmes, Pinklon Thomas, Tyrell Biggs, and Mitch Green. Following that, how Deontay Wilder could win. Former WBC champion Deontay Wilder is widely regarded as the most powerful puncher in boxing history. His wild punches have resulted in some of the most emphatic knockouts in recent memory. However, this would have been a poor stylistic matchup for him. Being the significantly larger man with the longer reach doesn't help Wilder in this matchup. If he beats Mike, I believe it will be with a perfectly timed right hand, similar to the punch that knocked out Tyson Fury in the 12th round of their first fight. Many people would dismiss Wilder in this matchup because of Mike's evasiveness in his prime, but Wilder's always had a puncher's chance. In terms of raw power, I believe Wilder has Mike beat. It's close, but Mike is much shorter, and his fast, explosive punches were difficult for his opponents to predict, which is how he produced so many knockouts. Wilder, on the other hand, throws looping right hands that are usually easy to see and avoid, but when he lands, it sends his opponents crashing to the canvas, regardless of whether they saw the punch coming. If Wilder were to defeat Mike, I believe it would be by knockout in the later stages of the fight, if a perfect right hand landed cleanly. Mike's fight with James Buster Douglas demonstrated that heavyweight boxing has limitless potential. So while Wilder may face an arduous task, he only needs one chance to land his devastating right hand. Next, Deontay Wilder's competition and notable wins. When it comes to competition, the two aren't comparable. Wilder hasn't faced any greats aside from Tyson Fury, who I thought easily beat Wilder in all three fights. The heavyweight division's current landscape is not what it once was. Wilder will now have to contend with Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, Andy Ruiz Jr., and Alexander Usyk. In terms of notable wins, he has defeated Luis Ortiz 2 times, Bermine Stiverne 2 times, Dominic Breazeale, Chris Arola, and Malik Scott. Moving on, what do the fighters think would happen? Wilder and Mike, like most fighters, have incredible incredible self-belief and believed they were unbeatable during their respective fighting careers. Their championship mindsets propelled them to the pinnacle of the sport and earned them the most coveted position in boxing as world heavyweight champions. Wilder stated in an interview that he would beat Mike Tyson in his prime. "I don't know, I love the fact that he thinks that way, because that is what I would say as well," Mike responded. So it's safe to say that they both believe they could have beaten each other in their primes. Following Tyson Fury's defeat, Mike Tyson encouraged Deontay Wilder to continue fighting. Mike Tyson urged Deontay Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua rather than retire following back-to-back losses to Tyson Fury. The Bronze Bomber was on the verge of retiring earlier in 2022 after being stopped by Fury in back-to-back WBC heavyweight title fights. The 36-year-old chose to fight after being persuaded by fighters such as Iron Mike that there are still plenty of interesting and lucrative fights in the heavyweight division. "I think Deontay Wilder should fight some other guys," Tyson said to Club Shay Shay in February, amid speculation that his fellow American might retire. "He should be overjoyed and eager to fight someone else right away." Regarding AJ as a potential Wilder opponent, Tyson stated, "I would love to see that fight, yes. They'll be winging it. They will not have many styles. They will be winging." Negotiations to make the fight a reality fell through several times between 2017 and 2019, with Wilder losing twice to Fury and Joshua to Alexander Usyk. Moving on, Joshua's fight is unavoidable. Wilder has decided to fight again and will do so on Saturday night at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. The former longtime world champion has been hyping a potential fight with Joshua ahead of his fight with Helenius, which he believes is unavoidable and remains boxing's biggest. "Everyone I talk to always asks me, when are you going to fight Joshua? Right now, we have the world's biggest fight, for the time being. Nonetheless, that is the most frequently requested matchup. It's a question of when, not if." Joshua is currently without an opponent after talks for a mouth-watering domestic showdown with Fury fell through following his defeat to Usyk. Wilder, 32, is set to return to the ring in December and has been linked to a fight with Chris Areola, whom he defeated in 8 rounds 6 years ago. Finally, Khabib. Alexander Volkanovski is going to be tougher than Charles Oliveira for Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev, the Ultimate Fighting Championship lightweight champion, faces a tough first title defense. On February 11th, 2023, Makhachev will defend his title against UFC featherweight kingpin Alexander Volkanovski in the main event of UFC 284 in Perth, Australia. Makhachev had to overcome his toughest test to date, former titleist Charles Oliveira, at UFC 280 to set up the champion versus champion clash. The Dagestani met little opposition from Oliveira, submitting him with an arm triangle choke in round 2. Watch highlights. Khabib Nurmagomedov, Makhachev's longtime training partner turned coach, has been with him every step of the way, anticipating a difficult test in Oliveira. The Eagle expects Volkanovski to be a more formidable opponent. "I told Islam even before the last bout with Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski is going to be tougher than Charles Oliveira," Nurmagomedov remarked on Sunday during a speaking visit for Class A events, Penny Appeal Canada. Like before the fight, if Charles didn't make weight, Volkanovski was scheduled to fight with him. He has relevant experience. Of course, experience is essential. Charles and Volkanovski both have it. They both have a lot of experience, he added. But when it comes to fighting IQ and a great heart, I think Volkanovski is better than him. Volkanovski will be a more formidable opponent of Islam than Charles Oliveira. But hey, who cares? We're going to finish him. Well, that marks the end of our video for today. We hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more content like this in the future. Thanks for watching.